There's lies that are printed in a book that lives there for the end of time.
And then she goes around dissing the Kardashians, but it's like, those are the kids that you raised.
Hi, Dad. I'm very mad at you about something, because I don't know how everyone knows, and now it's a huge story, and I'm actually pissed at you.
It's clear that Caitlyn Jenner has problems. She has exposed and exploited her family for her own fame. After transitioning, she trashed her children and her ex-wife, Kris Jenner. And now, to this day, the feuds continue. It looks like Caitlyn and her closest daughter, Kendall, have had a major falling out. So let's get into it. When it comes to the Kardashians and the Jenners, there seems to be a lot of tension there. And to be honest, it seems like Caitlyn is one of the main issues here because she has a falling out with everyone, including most recently her daughter, Kendall Jenner. So recently, Caitlyn unfollowed Kendall on Instagram, which seems pretty petty, but when you are a big star like this entire family is, people take note of you following and unfollowing people, and it seems like, you know, Caitlyn has gotten petty and now is unfollowing her own daughter, which I think has a lot of people confused because Caitlyn and Kendall have always been so close.
Kendall loves driving it. Now, does it attract any attention?
So much. I get a lot of attention from old men.
Yeah.
Oh,
which is
really?
great.
I'm shocked. I'm
No,
shocked.
they always
I'm shocked that
they-
creepy old guys would be attracted to a
driving a hot Corvette.
Yeah.
Is it Jay?
No, but it's so funny because they'll pull up and they'll be like, such a nice car, it's your dad's, right? And I'm like, no, it's mine.
Rumors swirl that Kendall Jenner has fallen out with her dad after the Kardashians' fan spot a glaring sign that hints towards a disagreement between the two. It's thought that the supermodel is at odds with her parent after it was discovered that Caitlyn Jenner unfollowed her on Instagram. And this part makes it even weirder because fans discovered the social media diss, which was made all more bizarre when they realized that Caitlyn still follows her other children, former stepchildren, and Kris Jenner. So literally Kendall is the only person who Caitlyn is calling out. I don't know how I would feel if one of my parents unfollowed me on social media. This person tweeted, Caitlyn Jenner unfollowing Kendall is so childish. Like, that's your child. Why the hell would you unfollow? Another person writes that it's surprising because out of all the kids, Caitlyn seems to be closest to Kendall. So Kendall must have really pissed her off, which that's true. I mean, they seem to be the closest, so Caitlyn must be really upset. So of course, everyone caught wind of this and Caitlyn started to backtrack a little bit. Caitlyn quickly refollowed Kendall on Instagram, so maybe everyone's happy-go-lucky, but I think there are some bigger problems here because there's a theme when it comes to Caitlyn and their parenting because they're really not the best father figure. And this wouldn't be the first time that Kendall and Caitlyn have gotten into it, because at one point Kendall was a Victoria's Secret model, and back in 2016 she was going to walk the show, and she became really upset with Caitlyn and ended up disinviting her to the show because I believe Caitlyn shared some information or did something that Kendall did not like, and it resulted in Caitlyn being uninvited.
Hi, Dad. I'm very mad at you about something, did you publicly, did you have your publicist announce that you were going? Because I don't know how everyone knows, and now it's a huge story, and I'm actually pissed at you. Okay, well then you knew that was gonna happen, and that's so annoying. Okay, well then I don't want you to go. You're gonna take the biggest night of my life and take it away from me? Thank you. No, you can't. You can come to the after party. You can't come.
I feel like Kendall has every right to be upset with Caitlyn there, because if this was her first time walking the show, it was going to be big news, then why is Caitlyn over here blabbing about Kendall walking the show? It just seems like a stupid and selfish move. Like, Caitlyn wanted to get some clout for sharing that her daughter was going to be in Victoria's Secret, so that's what she did. And it seems like Caitlyn does seek out clout. Like, maybe in her past life, she felt like kind of reserved, and now it's her moment to destroy everything. Because when Caitlyn came out with her book, that really hurt her children, and I think that's really what started the resentment between the Kardashians, the Jenners, and Caitlyn.
Caitlyn reportedly even opens up about she and Kris's sex life and claims Chris knew about then Bruce's gender issue, which Chris denies.
And then all through the book, Chris knew. Chris knew before I even made love to her. I'm like, what?
Chris isn't the only one allegedly hurt by these revelations. Caitlyn opens up about her recent penis removal surgery, and Kendall and Kylie are really embarrassed. Radar Online claims the sisters really think that the stuff about their father's penis did not need to be in the book. However, Caitlyn allegedly defends her decision to go into such detail, writing, "You want to know, so now you know."
So this book really caused issues for the family, and I wonder if it was worth it to Caitlyn. Like, did she make so much money from this book that it was so worth it to just exploit their entire family? I mean, at this point, they've been on TV for so many years. You would think that, like, this wouldn't be a big deal, but there were certain things that Caitlyn insinuated in this book which really upset their children and also disrespected Chris in some weird ways. Like, for example, Kendall actually called this book insane while on the show because of how Caitlyn depicted Kris Jenner.
There's lies that are printed in a book. Your children are going to read this book about their grandparent and have a story that's fabricated.
And then she goes around dissing the Kardashians, but it's like, those are the kids that you raised. If you have a problem with them, you raised them. That makes no sense to me that she would go around bashing like us for no reason. It's insane, Mom. That's insane.
I agree, it is insane because Caitlyn did raise these children. Like, Caitlyn was a father to these children, and now she's like getting off on exposing them and their secrets and how she was hiding her identity, which I do believe this family was somewhat aware of, but not really fully as aware as Caitlyn's trying to make it out to seem. Here's one article that claims that Caitlyn revealed that it's been 2 years since she's spoken to Khloe Kardashian and she's lost all relationship with the entire family. Expressing her sadness in an interview with Piers Morgan, Caitlyn confirmed that she doesn't talk to any of the Kardashians anymore. Quote, "I don't talk about that side of the family. I spent 23 years of my life with those kids. It's difficult to talk about it. Terribly, terribly sad." The 68-year-old said that she's still close with her biological children, Kendall and Kylie, saying, "My children are my life." But it appears that Caitlyn's relationship with Khloe might be the most strained out of all her stepchildren. She claims she hasn't spoken to her in 2 years, and this was back in 2017. I'm not surprised that Caitlyn hasn't spoken to Khloe because Khloe is so close to Kris that I feel like if you're going to disrespect like Kris Jenner, like Khloe is going to defend her all the way. And even if Kris like moved on, I don't think Khloe ever would.
Hasn't spoken to Kim Kardashian in over a year, which given that she was, you know, a parent to Kim for so many years is such a long time. She kind of spoke out and said that after she released her book, which we know the family really wasn't happy about, they kind of really bashed her. Those were her words. She says that she feels as though they kind of took it out on her, that they didn't make any steps to kind of get, you know, mend the bonds between them, and she's really unhappy about it.
Yeah, it's got to be really tough for Caitlyn, Charlie. Any hope that they're going to reconcile?
You know, with this family, you really never know.
So that's a pretty bad parent in my opinion. I mean, if you're going to put out this book and create this entire new life, great for you. But don't leave behind your old life or your children. I mean, it's different like moving on and I guess like transitioning. I can't relate to that experience, but I cannot imagine transitioning your kids out of your life. That's not the first time that Caitlyn's been accused of poor parenting, because one of her children, Brody Jenner, claims that Caitlyn was absent most of his childhood. If you guys want a video about Brody, comment below, but I feel bad for him because he was raised by his mother, because pretty much Caitlyn moved on, married Kris Jenner, had this large family, and completely forgot about his past children. So it seems like Brody has some type of pain and resentment and some need of healing, especially when he sees Caitlyn in her past life interacting with Kendall and Kylie, because Brody never got that.
I would think he's like never been to the beach in his life before. Was Bruiser always like that when you guys were growing up? Was he always very attentive, like loving, throwing you up on the shoulders?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
I was the one child that didn't really have the greatest relationship with Bruce. I grew up with my stepdad. Bruce was never around for me. I mean, I can't even tell you how many birthdays that went by where Bruce wasn't there. And I resent him for that. He just wasn't a great father to me. So good with the girls, by the way. It's interesting to watch how you are with the girls.
Yeah. Well,
Because it's like, something I'm not really used to. You weren't around, I was a kid, and it's like,
now's not the time to talk about it.
I actually feel so bad for Brody in that clip because he's literally trying to confront like Caitlyn, and Caitlyn's like, not right now, and just like very dismissive. Like, clearly your child is hurt, but also maybe, you know, Caitlyn just didn't want this to be part of the show. But that's like selfish thinking, because if your child wanted to talk about this right then and there, then just allow them to do so. When it comes to Kendall and Caitlyn, it looks like they are, you know, following each other on Instagram, and they're not going to comment about their recent feud. I don't think it will appear on the show either, because Caitlyn doesn't seem to be on the Hulu show at all. But as I was doing research about this family and their feuds, I found one tweet that I just wanted to mention because I think it is so aggressive. Kylie Jenner calls sister Kendall a whore. To mean? I think so. Excuse me, the Kardashians need to stop bringing each other down. It looks like Kylie posted a picture of Kendall and she called her a whore. As you guys can see in this photo and the caption, Kylie Jenner was only 16 at this time, and she may be the youngest of the clan, but she certainly has inherited her older sister's outspoken genes. So in this photo, they were actually in the offices of like a PacSun studio working on their Kendall and Kylie clothing line, which I wonder if that's still a clothing line. But anyways, Kylie took that picture of Kendall, posted it on Twitter, and a lot of people felt like it was a little bit too mean for her to call her sister a whore. I mean, granted, Kylie's like 16 years old, so maybe she's just acting like a 16-year-old, but there have been plenty of feuds and fights within this family, and if you guys want me to cover them in a future video, I am more than happy to. Here's my email if you guys have any ideas for me, and I'll see you in a new video soon. Bye, guys.